none of them ask Merrick Garland over the last 4 years one word about Jeffrey Epstein. How ironic is that? You know why? Because Donald Trump, the Dow right now is over, the Dow is over $50,000. I don't know why you're laughing.
It's the Attorney General of the United States asked about the rape of teenage girls, Joe.
Yeah, we're laughing because she's making a fool of herself.
Complete fool of herself.
Like she actually thinks...
So brutally obvious.
She actually thinks that everybody's a 5-year-old in that room. Mm-hmm. Like, she's exposed, making a fool of herself. The question is about young girls who have been raped, not about the S&P 500. The question is about people all around Donald Trump. I could list the names, those in government, those in his family, those around him that are all over the Epstein files. All over the Epstein files. And yet the richest and the most powerful among them, the people, the Epstein class who is running this government, is still being protected by Pam Bondi. Her binders full of information. Yeah, nothing was in that. And now they're desperately trying to continue to keep this from the American people. Who is in the Epstein class that they are trying to protect?
So if we could put that shot up where it's Bondi, two-shot with the victims. I just think it's interesting because here was her moment on the national stage as the Attorney General of the United States, to be a woman who stands up for other women.
She won't turn around.
She decided to turn her back on victims of repeated sexual abuse, some of them at the time in their lives when they were children. That right there is who Pam Bondi is now. And I mean, for Republicans who remain silent, who continue to follow in these footsteps, it's going to get harder, as you could see yesterday. It's getting harder to do what you do because it looks terrible. It looks so obvious. It looks so brutally obvious that you are not working for the American people at all.
Are working for these women who, as young girls, were trafficked, were abused, were molested, were passed around.
I just can't believe as a woman.
There is no evidence that Donald Trump has committed a crime.
I believe you just lied under oath. There is ample evidence in the Epstein file.
Don't you ever accuse me of a crime.
I believe you just lied under oath, and this is all on videotape. You said there's no evidence of a crime. I'm showing you. Here is a witness statement, and he met a girl who said she was raped by Donald Trump. If you had any decency, you would resign right after this hearing.
Lock her.
Yeah, what do you want?
On the Epstein files, you talked about Democrats who were in there. Elon Musk was also in there, and so was your Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick and correspondence that he had with him. Did you read those new files that were published by the Department of Justice?
I didn't. I have a lot of things I'm doing, a lot of things I'm doing. I don't know. You mentioned 2 names. I'm sure they're fine. I'm sure they're fine. Otherwise, it would have been major headlines.
A lot of women who are survivors of Epstein's are unhappy with those redactions that came out. Some of them, entire witness interviews are totally blacked out. Do you think that they should be more transparent?
With the fact that they thought they released too much. I heard that, and you tell me something else. No, I think it's really time for the country to get onto something else. Really, now that nothing came out about me, other than it was a conspiracy against me, literally by Epstein and other people. But I think it's time now for the country to maybe get onto something else.
What would you say to people
like
who feel like they haven't gotten
healthcare,
justice, Mr. President?
Something that people care about. Yeah, what did you say? Go ahead.
What would you say to the survivors who feel like they haven't gotten
You are the
justice?
worst reporter. No wonder CNN has no ratings because of people like you. She's a young woman. I don't think I've ever seen you smile. I've known you for 10 years. I don't think I've ever seen a smile on your face. You know why? You know why you're not smiling? Because you know you're not telling the truth, and you're a very dishonest organization, and they should be ashamed of you. Okay, go ahead.
Survivors of a sexual.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. And to be clear, I'm not going to ask any questions of this witness because this witness has revealed that she has no intentions of answering questions. But instead, I'm going to ask some very basic questions really quickly of my colleague, Becca Ballant, if she will answer right or wrong, raping children.
Wrong.
Right or wrong, killing random citizens.
Definitely wrong.
Right or wrong, enriching yourself as the sitting president of the United States.
Definitely wrong.
Okay, thank you, because I probably never would have got that with our witness. Our witness who somehow is a lawyer but does not understand how it works with witnesses. I'm not really sure what law school she went to and what all kind of cases she tried, but typically when you come into a space and somebody's a witness, then they sit there and they answer questions instead of asking questions. And then we also have this objection that we use as lawyers called non-responsive when a witness fails to actually answer the question. But nevertheless, let me address the survivors because that's exactly who they are. They are not victims, they are survivors. Let me say thank you for having more courage and moral clarity in your pinky fingers than the entire Department of Justice. We are currently the laughing stock of the world, partially because of the failed leadership within the DOJ as we see kings and queens falling everywhere around the world. But we don't know the basics of right and wrong in this country because it's not about partisanship. And that's why I applaud Thomas Massey, because he's the only person on the Republican side that has a backbone and knows how to stand up to corruption. She stated that when she took office, she had two main goals. The first was to end the weaponization of justice, and second, to return the department to its core mission. Not only have you lied about both, you've intentionally done the exact opposite. You're spending more taxpayer resources arresting journalists than you are prosecuting pedophiles and creeps. In fact, your boss, the President of the United States, stated that this administration, quote, took the freedom of speech away. And at your direction, DOJ has arrested Don Lemon and Georgia Fort. And I might add that y'all actually had a judge that rejected y'all for trying to arrest Don Lemon before, just like the grand jury rejected y'all as it relates to Senator Kelly, just like a grand jury rejected y'all as it relates to Senator Slotkin, just like the case against Tish James was dismissed and the case against Mr. Comey was dismissed. I completely don't get how it is that you're sitting at the top of DOJ because you don't seem to be good at your job. Let's circle back to you protecting pedophiles and creeps because I want to talk about the president and his possible involvement with Jeffrey Epstein. Now, I don't know what the president might have done with Jeffrey Epstein, but unlike this administration, I believe that facts matter. So let's talk about the facts. Fact number one, Donald Trump is one of the most named people in the Epstein files. At least 5,000 files contains more than 38,000 references to Trump, his wife, or Mar-a-Lago. Fact number two, Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell made young girls available to Trump on multiple occasions. For example, according to this file, Ghislaine Maxwell presented a young girl to President Trump who spent more than 20 minutes apparently flirting with her. Here's another example. This shows notes from FBI investigators that describe Jeffrey Epstein transporting a victim to Mar-a-Lago to meet with President Trump, where he bragged to Trump that, quote, this is a good one. Now, I'm not saying that the president is a pedophile, but there is a lot of evidence in these files that suggests that he's very close friends with a lot of men who are pedophiles. What's crazy about all of this is just that this is a big cover-up. And this administration is engaged in it. In fact, this administration is complicit. But there are numerous others, like how the DOJ is attempting to obstruct justice in the investigation of the rogue agents who have murdered American citizens, or how the DOJ seized voter data from Fulton County in an attempt to steal the 2026 midterm elections, or how federal agents have Tom Homan on tape accepting a bribe and your agency killed the investigation, or how your agency is ready to give the president a $230 million payday, which is unconstitutional. The Constitution is clear. The president shall not receive any payment except his salary while in office. The fact of the matter is that you will be remembered as one of the worst attorney generals in history, an attorney general who has prioritized obstruction over justice, corruption over the law, fealty to the president over loyalty to the Constitution. And Mr. Chairman, I will yield.
Girl, that right there is the reason why Texas needs to vote Jasmine Crockett into the Senate. That right there. I understand that she has some good competition and some good progressives that are wanting to get in there and all of that. Now is not their time. It's hers. She needs to be in the Senate because when it comes to telling it like it is, when it comes to being fearless in the face of this regime, Jasmine Crockett is what is necessary right now in this moment. So if you are in Texas and voting in the Democratic primary, you need to go ahead and vote accordingly. Because I feel as if she is the one who is not the one, if you understand what I'm saying. She holds no fear with this administration, and she will call out this administration exactly how they need to be called out in this moment. And the best thing about that clip is that Pam Bondi had to literally sit there and take it. And homegirl was mad as fire too. Now, right after Jasmine Crockett yielded back her time, Derek Schmidt, who was an attorney general in Kansas. Now, Derek Schmidt, in his time during attorney general, literally fought against human trafficking. That was his whole thing. He fought against human trafficking, and he also fought against the overreach of the federal government. You would think that Derek Schmidt would pull a Thomas Massey and recognize the signs that he was actively fighting against. But no, him and Pam Bondi, according to Pam Bondi, have been friends for many, many years. So his whole principles when it came to human trafficking and government overreach, apparently that doesn't apply when it comes to his friends, because they are sitting there specifically for those reasons. And he is sitting there complicit about everything that she is doing, as well as the rest of the DOJ and the FBI. And not to mention Bone Spurs himself. Just because that's his team that is doing it. Just because that is his people, his friends that are doing it. So he got the floor after Jasmine Crockett finished saying what she was saying. And he wanted to give Pam Bondi some time to respond to what it was that Jasmine Crockett had to say. And Pam Bondi's response isn't nearly as strong as she thinks it is, because Pam Bondi and the entirety of their entire base are idiots. And I'm not even saying this lightly, because her response to that was to pull out a folder full of brown people. One of them was from Cuba, the other one was from Afghanistan, and the other one was from the Dominican Republic. All of these men, she said, had done heinous crimes. But the thing is, she said that they were convicted. And that's the disconnect, isn't it? And at that time, Jasmine Crockett did interrupt her and speak up, but then Jasmine Crockett left. And I understand why, because it is frustrating that these people don't even understand what they're saying. Pam Bondi wanted to point out these three men from these three brown countries in Texas who had done these heinous crimes. The thing is, those guys were convicted, which means inherently that they were investigated, arrested, tried in a court of law, convicted, and sentenced. The victims of their crimes got justice, while she is literally sitting there actively obstructing the justice of the victims she ignored behind her. So Pam Bondi and the idiots who are supporting her and Bone Spurs just knew that they had a winning argument trying to point out the three brown people in Texas who did heinous crimes, while also ignoring a huge trafficking ring that was just exposed in Texas full of white men. Why? Because they don't care about that. They never have. Never have. All of the Republicans who claim that they cared about trafficking in this country, they cared about the children and for the children, and we need to get all the trans people because the children, they are the same people who are hiding these files, the same people who are hiding the perpetrators in these files, the same people who do not care that these survivors behind them, literally behind them, raising their hands to say that they feel ignored while being ignored, get justice. They don't care. Never have, never will. And she showed that in her testimony. In the entirety of the testimony, she showed that. And it is telling that she will point to brown people and say, well, you don't want to talk about the fact that this guy was convicted of this. He was convicted. Conversation over. But you have the white elite businessmen who are not facing any consequences for heinous crimes that they have allegedly done. They're not even facing an investigation, but yet she wants to bring up Hakeem Jeffries taking money from E-Man. If you want to investigate him too, add him in the mix. I don't care. But that whataboutism is pathetic. It's pathetic, especially when you are pointing to people who are paying for their crimes as a justification for not even investigating crimes that powerful white men have been accused of. That's her answer. Brown people who have been convicted over white people who are not even being investigated. That is the foundation of America
You're familiar with the public integrity section of the DOJ's criminal division. I think it's referred to as PIN. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Do you know which presidential administration under which the PIN was first created?
I can tell you what administration that the weaponization was ended under.
I'll reclaim my time. This wasn't a trick question.
You don't get to
Madam Attorney
reclaim
General.
your time.
Madam Attorney General.
Because I don't like it.
Mr. Chairman, will you explain to the witness that he does reclaim his time?
Because I don't answer a question to your satisfaction.
Mr. Chairman.
Madam Attorney General, the time belongs to the gentleman from Colorado.
The president under which PIN was created was Gerald Ford. It was created after Watergate. I'm not asking a question, Madam Attorney General. The administration under which it was created was Gerald Ford. When you first started as the Attorney General of the United States, there were 35 people working in that office. There are now 2 people working in that office because you have gutted it. How many people work for the National Cryptocurrency Enforcement Team in the criminal division today?
Can I answer the question about PIN?
I've asked you a question. How many people work?
You've asked me a question, but you don't
How
want
many
the answer.
people work
I'm not
for the
gonna answer your
National
questions the way you
Cryptocurrency
want.
Enforcement Team? You won't answer how many
I'll
people?
answer PIN.
You.
PIN will not be
you know what?
weaponized.
I actually, Mr. Chairman, are not trick questions. They're not gotcha questions. They're actually basic questions about how the Department of Justice functions and the unwillingness of this Attorney General to answer them in good faith. When a member of Congress asks how many people work at the National Cryptocurrency Enforcement Team and the Attorney General refuses to answer it, it is not a coincidence. It's because she eliminated the team. Why? Because her boss, the President of the United States, is making money hand over fist, $1.4 billion over the course of the last year through cryptocurrency holdings. I think what is happening at the Department of Justice is a disgrace, Mr. Chairman. And I would urge you to gain control of this hearing. With that, I yield back the balance of my time.
Is your money dirty money?
If you live,
I just asked a question. Is your money dirty money?
No, it's not. So, in fact,
why is it not dirty money?
Because I earned it,
But you earned it.
I earned it legally.
We went back to this before. You earned
Yes.
it. You earned it, advising the worst people in the world, right? That do enormous bad things, and just to make more money. You're a mathematician. We walked into that clinic where they're giving that money out to these people that are in the most dire straits of poverty and sickness, and told them that the money was coming from a, what are you, class 3 sexual predator?
Tier 1.
Was tier 1's the highest and worst?
No, I'm
the lowest.
I'm the lowest.
You're the lowest. Okay, tier 1, you're the lowest. But a criminal.
Yes.
That the money came from them. What percentage of people do you estimate? I understand you don't like probabilities. Do you estimate would say, I don't care, I want the money for my children?
I would say everyone said, I want the money for my children.
Did they know where the money came from?
I think if you told them,
if I told them the
devil,
100%.
the devil
himself.
The devil himself said, I'm going to exchange some dollars for your child's life.
Do you think you're the devil himself?
No, but I do have a good mirror.
It's a serious question. Do you think you're the devil himself?
I don't know. Why would you say that?
Because you have all the attributes. You're incredibly smart. You remember, the devil is somebody who knows
smart?
This is so ridiculous, and that they are trying to deflect from all the great things Donald Trump has done. There is no evidence that Donald Trump has committed a crime. Everyone knows that. This has been the most transparent presidency. He's the one that asked that those files
I'm going to claim my time. I got your answer. You said there's no evidence.
Trump asked
Chairman, please stop the clock.
Stop the clock. The legislation. This is
Time belongs to the gentleman from California.
Okay. I'm going to put up another document from a witness who called the FBI's National Threat Operations Center, because I believe you just lied under oath. There is ample evidence in the Epstein file.
Don't you ever accuse me of a crime.
I believe you just lied under oath, and this is all on videotape. You said there's no evidence of a crime. I'm showing you. Here is a witness statement who called into the FBI's Threat Operations Center. He drove Donald Trump around in a limo. He overheard what Donald Trump said to Jeffrey on his cell phone. He was so angry, he was going to stop the limo and hurt Donald Trump. And he met a girl who said she was raped by Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein. She later had her head blown off, and officers at the scene said that could not have been suicide. No one No one at the Department of Justice interviewed this witness. You need to interview this witness
before you started.
You don't tell me.
Yeah, I did tell you because we saw what you did in the Senate.
You're a lawyer, not even a lawyer.
How many of Epstein's co-conspirators have you indicted? How many perpetrators are you even investigating?
First, you showed it. I find it.
How many have you indicted?
Excuse me. I'm going to answer the question.
Answer my question.
No, I'm going to answer the question the way I want to answer the question.
No, you're going to answer the question the way I asked it.
This administration released over 3 million pages of documents, over 3 million, and Donald Trump signed that law. He is the most transparent president in the nation's history. Shame on you.
Oh, for goodness sakes.
You're
this
from
is
a tiny,
pathetic.
beautiful
This is
state.
pathetic, Mr.
Committee will
Chair.
be in order.
I am not asking trick questions here.
You
The
got your
American
5
people
minutes.
have a right to know the answers to this. These are senior officials in the Trump administration. This is not a game, Secretary.
I'm Attorney General.
My apologies. This is not a game, Secretary.
I'm Attorney General.
My apologies, I couldn't tell.
Oof, that was a fatality right there.
The president aware of Secretary Lutnick's ties to Epstein when he chose him to lead the Department of Commerce? Was he aware?
Chris Malin was a Border Patrol agent.
Okay, so I'm going to conclude that the president, in fact, did know about his ties because he was the next door neighbor.
Shame on you.
Oh, for goodness sakes.
You're
this
from
is
a tiny,
pathetic.
beautiful
This is
state.
pathetic,
The
Mr.
committee
Chair.
will be in order.
I am not asking trick questions here.
You
The
got your
American
5
people
minutes.
have a right to know the answers to this. These are senior officials in the Trump administration.
Trump gets asked a similar question about Howard, not like today.
Mr. President, were you aware that Secretary of Commerce visited Epstein's island, and do you continue to have?
No, I wasn't aware of it. No, I didn't. I actually haven't spoken to him about it. I wasn't. But from what I hear, he was there with his wife and children. And I guess in some cases, some people were. I wasn't. I was never there.
Oh, he makes it shamelessly making it about himself. The most offensive part about Howard Lutnick going there is that, number one, it was after Jeffrey Epstein had already been caught in 2007/2008 and then let go. Secondly, it directly contradicts Howard Lutnick's statement that after he met Jeffrey Epstein in 2005, he was so creeped out that he never wanted to bring his family around him again. Well, that's a lie. He did bring his family around Jeffrey Epstein. He did bring his family to Jeffrey Epstein's island, and they shared nannies together. What absolutely disgusting. And by the way, I'm going to have to tweet this out because who is Jeffrey Epstein hiring a nanny for? I mean, Howard Lutnick has kids. It makes sense for him. I can be charitable there. Jeffrey Epstein.
Excuse me. I'm going to answer the question.
Answer my question.
No, I'm going to answer the question the way I want to answer the question.
No.
Have you apologized to President Trump? Have you apologized to President Trump, all of you who participated in those impeachment hearings against Donald Trump?
And I told you about that, Attorney General, before you started.
You don't tell me.
Yeah, I did tell you because we saw what you did in the Senate.
You're a lawyer, not even a lawyer.
Arlen,
you don't get a reclaim
because
time
this
when
is
you don't.
bigger than Watergate.
When I don't answer a question the way you
goes
want.
over.
Only 2 people voted against it, and you were one of them, hypocrite.
But we're going to move back to you.
I bet we are.
Yes, of course, because you're here to testify.
This guy has Trump derangement syndrome. He needs to get, you're a failed politician.
Not a complicated question.
Well, I guess it is for you because you have a law degree and those are privileged. Do you even know who Chase Mulligan is? You're so obsessed with, you don't, do you?
I'm going to teach you the rules again.
The whole thing is given a grown-up version of Regina George from me.
You're siding with the perpetrators and you're ignoring the victims. That will be your legacy unless you act quickly to change course. You're running a massive Epstein cover-up right out of the Department of Justice. You've been ordered by subpoena and by Congress to turn over 6 million documents, photographs, and videos in the Epstein files, but you've turned over only 3 million. You say you're not turning over the other 3 million because they're somehow duplicative, but we know that there are actual memos of victim statements in there. And you also took down the Department of Justice's prosecution memo from 2019. So it's clearly not all duplicative, but even if it were, why not release it? Just release all the duplicative stuff. In the half you did produce, you redacted the names of abusers, enablers, accomplices, and co-conspirators, apparently to spare them embarrassment and disgrace, which is the exact opposite of what the law ordered you to do. Even worse, you shockingly failed to redact many of the victims' names, which is what you were ordered to do by Congress. Some of the victims had come forward publicly, but many had not. Many had kept their torment private, even from family and friends. But you published their names, their identities, their images on thousands of pages for the world to see. So you ignored the law, and even with over 100,000 employees at your disposal, you acted with some mixture of staggering incompetence, cold indifference, and jaded cruelty towards more than 1,000 victims raped, abused, and trafficked. This performance screams cover-up. Convicted sex trafficker and groomer Ghislaine Maxwell opened the gates of hell to Virginia Giuffre and hundreds of other victims, as Virginia recorded in her remarkable book, Nobody's Girl. But when Maxwell was subpoenaed to come testify before Congress, you and Todd Blanche quickly moved her from a higher security prison to a minimum security camp in Texas, where she's enjoyed 5-star treatment, including catered meals, private gym time, and access to a therapy.
Our witness, who somehow is a lawyer but does not understand how it works with witnesses. I'm not really sure what law school she went to and what all kind of cases she tried, but typically when you come into a space and somebody's a witness, then they sit there and they answer questions instead of asking questions. You're spending more taxpayer resources arresting journalists than you are prosecuting pedophiles and creeps. In fact, your boss, the President of the United States, stated that this administration, quote, took the freedom of speech away. And at your direction, DOJ has arrested Don Lemon and Georgia Ford. I completely don't get how it is that you're sitting at the top of DOJ, because you don't seem to be good at your job. But let's circle back to you protecting pedophiles and creeps, because I want to talk about the president and his possible involvement with Jeffrey Epstein. Now, I don't know what the president might have done with Jeffrey Epstein, but unlike this administration, I believe that facts matter. So let's talk about the facts. Fact number one, Donald Trump is one of the most named people in the Epstein files. At least 5,000 files contains more than 38,000 references to Trump, his wife, or Mar-a-Lago. Fact number two, Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell made young girls available to Trump on multiple occasions. For example, according to this file, Ghislaine Maxwell presented a young girl to President Trump who spent more than 20 minutes apparently flirting with her. Here's another example. This shows notes from FBI investigators that describe Jeffrey Epstein transporting a victim to Mar-a-Lago to meet with President Trump, where he bragged to Trump that, quote, this is a good one. Now, I'm not saying that the president is a pedophile, but there is a lot of evidence in these files that suggests that he's very close friends with a lot of men who are pedophiles. The fact of the matter is that you will be remembered as one of the worst attorney generals in history, an attorney general who has prioritized obstruction over justice, corruption over the law, fealty to the president over loyalty to the Constitution, and Mr.
Have you ever had a personal relationship with Donald Trump?
What do you mean by personal relationships?
Have you socialized with him?
Yes, sir.
Yes?
Yes, sir.
Have you ever socialized with Donald Trump in the presence of females under the age of 18?
Though I'd like to answer that question, at least today, I'm going to have to assert my 5th, 6th, and 14th Amendment rights, sir.
This is for all you sick, spineless little puppets. I don't give a rat's hind end who you are or what little cause you're out here supporting. But if you're out here saying that these families in Texas deserve that flash flood, that they deserve to lose their homes, their children, their lives, you are the disease to our country right now. You are the cancer that we need to cut out. You sit online flapping your daggum gums, talking about empathy, compassion, and humanity. But it only applies when people vote like you, talk like you, and bow to your side of the aisle. You don't give a damn about humanity. All you care about is control. You care about your narratives. You care about pushing your hate disguised as fake morality. Meanwhile, people, everyday Americans, red or blue, does not matter. These people lost everything. Those waters rose 26 feet in 45 minutes. Nobody had time to warn anyone. These babies were swept out of their parents' arms, homes completely washed off the map. And your response is to laugh at them? To mock them? To say that these people deserve what they got because they lived in a red state? You're not enlightened. You're not righteous. You are sick. You are disgusting. You are vile. But I'll tell you one thing you did accomplish. You pissed off the wrong damn patriots. Because every time your bitter, hateful little mouth runs, we're only going to get louder and we're only going to get stronger. And just like when Hurricane Helene hit western North Carolina and East Tennessee, we didn't stop and ask everybody who they freaking voted for. We just helped. Because that's what real Americans do. We rise up for our people and we fight for our freaking neighbors. We show the hell up in the middle of a devastation because that's the right damn thing to do. So no, I'm not going to back down, and I sure the hell am not going to shut up. I'm not going to soften my message to spare your little feelings. I will be on this app every single freaking day until these people in Texas rise up out of this devastation, just like we did for our people over in the mountains of North Carolina and the valleys of East Tennessee. Because we don't need to check your political stance before we lend you a hand. That's what makes us better. That's what makes us American. So keep talking and keep spewing your vile. But I want you to understand something real quick. You're not silencing us. You're only adding fuel to our fires. And we're
talking about Epstein today. This has been around since the Obama administration. This administration released over 3 million pages of documents, over 3 million. And Donald Trump signed that law to release all of those documents. He is the most transparent president in the nation's history. And none of them asked Merrick Garland over the last 4 years one word about Jeffrey Epstein. How ironic is that? You know why? Because Donald Trump, the Dow right now is over $50,000. I don't know why you're laughing. You're a great stock trader, as I hear, Raskin. The Dow is over 50,000 right now. The S&P at almost 7,000. And the NASDAQ smashing records. Americans' 401ks and retirement savings are booming. That's what we should be talking about. We should be talking about making Americans safe. We should be talking about, what does a Dow have to do with anything? That's what they just...
To the survivors in the room, if you are willing, please stand. And if you are willing, please raise your hands if you have still not been able to meet with this Department of Justice. Please know for the record that every single survivor has raised their hand. Attorney General Bondi, you apologized to the survivors in your opening statement for what they went through at the hands of Jeffrey Epstein. Will you turn to them now and apologize for what your Department of Justice has put them through with the absolutely unacceptable release of the Epstein files and their information?
Congresswoman, you sat before, Merrick Garland sat in this chair twice.
Attorney General Bondi,
no, can I finish my answer?
No, I'm going to reclaim my time because I asked you a specific question that I would like you to answer, which is, will you turn to the survivors? This is not about anybody that came before you. It is about you taking responsibility for your Department of Justice and the harm that it has done to the survivors who are standing right behind you and are waiting for you to turn to them and apologize for what your Department of Justice has done.
I will reclaim my time.
Mr. Chairman, the gentlelady has reclaimed her time.
I'm not going to get in the gutter for her theatrics.
You know, it's factually true that I was only at dinners. You know, I never went to the island. I never met any women. And so, you know, the more that comes out, the more clear it'll be that although the time was a mistake, it had nothing to do with that kind of behavior. Yeah, I met Jeffrey in 2011. The focus was always he knew a lot of very rich people, and he was saying he could get them to give money to global health. You know, in retrospect, that was a dead end, and I was foolish to spend time with him. I was one of many people who regret.
You know, with this anti-Semitic culture right now, she voted against a resolution condemning.
Oh,
is
Jewish.
I just want to be clear.
Do you want to go there, Attorney General? Or do you want to go there? Are you serious? Talking about anti-Semitism to a woman who lost her grandfather in the Holocaust?
I reclaim my time.
Really?
The committee will be in order.
Talk to Jared Wise about anti-Semitism.
Aware. Please stop talking. It is not your time to ask questions. It is not your time. I'm reclaiming my time, Mr. Chair.
One second. Time belongs to the gentlelady from Vermont.
Was the president aware of Secretary Lutnick's ties to Epstein when he chose him to lead the Department of Commerce? Was he aware?
Chris Malin was a Border Patrol agent.
Okay, so I'm going to conclude that the president, in fact, did know about his ties because he was the next door neighbor.
Shame on you.
Oh, for goodness sakes. This is pathetic. This is pathetic, Mr. Chair. I am not asking trick questions here. The American people have a right to know the answers to this. These are senior officials in the Trump administration. This is not a game, Secretary.
I'm Attorney General.
My apologies, I couldn't tell. By 2008, we knew that Epstein was a convicted sexual abuser. And we now know that Lutnick went to Epstein's Island in 2012. How was that not a deal breaker for the president? And why aren't you asking questions of the Commerce Secretary about what he saw when he was at the island, which he lied about not ever going to? Why are you not asking these questions? And I see that my time is almost expired, so I will say this. Do the right thing, Attorney General. Meet with the survivors. They have been asking for a year. Meet with the survivors. Do the right thing. I yield back.
Gentlelady yields back. The gentleman from South Carolina is recognized for 5 minutes.
May I have 20 seconds of his time?
So that'll be up to the gentleman, but...
Absolutely, Madam.
Thank you. Thank you. I was curious if you, Congresswoman, asked Bill Clinton that. Didn't see one tweet, not one. I didn't see one tweet when Joe Biden was in office about Bill Clinton. Didn't ask Merrick Garland anything about Epstein, not once. When he was
weak sauce.
Also, I want the record to reflect that, you know, with this anti-Semitic culture right now, she voted against a resolution condemning.
Oh,
is Jewish. I just want to be clear.
Do you want to go there, Attorney General? Or do you want to go there? Are you serious? Talking about anti-Semitism to a woman who lost her grandfather in the Holocaust?
Really? The committee will be in order.
Talk to Jared Wise about anti-Semitism.